2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
When your driveway's covered in snow, Toro and the Lawnmower Hospital have you covered. Toro's gas or battery-powered single-stage power clear snowblowers make it easy to clear right down to the concrete with incredible Toro-powered Propel technology. Face the next snow day without fear thanks to Toro and the Lawnmower Hospital. Visit lawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Leon Draisaitl is always Johnny Cash against Nashville. Connor McDavid's goals are an art form. And did the Oilers find a third line last night? Plus, welcome back Kasperi Kapanen. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family-owned, community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We're live on YouTube and on Sports 1440 AM radio, online at iHeartRadio, sports1440.ca, and Radio Player Canada. We tweeted out on X. We've got it available, Apple and Spotify podcast right after the show. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at JFenwick04. We have Kevin McCurdy as our guest today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Edmonton Oilers, about their July 1st signings, and about maybe the idea that with Henrique unfortunately hurt, Frederick on the bench, and Mangiapane on the way out of town, they're finally going to play these kids. And last night, I'm going to tell you, it looked real. We'll find out if it is in the days to come. But I was very impressed. Okay, it's time for the introductions. In the next 10 years, he will reinvent himself as a shock jock and make millions of dollars. He will also invent a new type of low-cost energy using only rubber, binder twine, molasses, and spit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
I never even took even close to any of that in school, so that'd have to be all self-taught.
No, but you get those little cassette tapes, and then you play it overnight while you're sleeping. You are great. You're going to invent a new energy form. And then the next day you wake up and you've got it.
I just figure it out.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
No working knowledge of the subject, by the way.
It worked for Mr. Magoo.
Well, start calling me Mr. Magoo, I guess.
In the next 10 years, he will watch over 4,500 hours of college football and eventually become defensive coordinator for Harry Ainley, nickname Ricola. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
I would love to get back into coaching. I think coaching's awesome, and I would love to. Yeah, I would. I'll say it right now. I'd love to be a college football head coach.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'll put my hand up.
But why not dream the dream? You know, I am uniquely qualified to talk about having a dream and pursuing the dream, because I was there right at the beginning of the Ologosphere, and Tyler Dello was one of the inventors of all of the things that we talk about today, along with Mr. Fenwick. And he ended up pursuing a dream, taught himself code, and is now the AGM of the Carolina Hurricanes. Rob Vollman, dear friend of mine, works for the Los Angeles Kings, and he was a guy who did the same thing all over the hockey world. Tim Murray, the Washington Capitals. Those are guys who were basically online with nothing to do, and they were visiting the Oilers blogs and talking and figuring out how things worked and what they'd call things. And that's a dream that has been fulfilled many times over. So you pursue that dream, young man. You are. I know that you are Jack Roslovic's number, but that's very young.
Well, this is my thing. Just with the whole age, like sometimes I think people think they're too old to chase their dream, but you know what? Like the time's gonna pass anyway. Yeah. Spend the time doing what you love and chasing what you love. Like people don't want to go back to school because they think they're too old. It's like, it's gonna be 4 years. Like by the time I'm done, I'll be 32. you're going to be 32 anyway.
Right.
You might as well be 32 and do something you want to do.
But you can be 32 with a kick-ass job you love.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, look at Josh.
Exactly.
He's already there. He already has the job he loves.
Yeah, Josh on the fast track. My goodness.
I mean, I know he dreams of rolling his eyes when I talk about the Green Bay Packers quarterback, and that's what he gets to do every day.
We all do. Yeah, but that's what makes it work so well.
So good. All right.
I fear I've peaked far too early.
You have not peaked. All right. Connor McDavid is redonkulous. The first goal, work of art. The second goal, I've seen a bazillion penalty shots. I can't believe it went in from there. He was in close, went upstairs where Dad keeps the cookies. And then the third goal is really outstanding too. Real nice pass. Real nice goal. Leon's Johnny Cash every time he plays Nashville. What I want to talk about is two things. Aside from that, Kasperi Kapanen, I thought he played well on the second line. And it freed up Jack Roslovic to check down for the third line. And they played in the third period. The third line was Roslovic between Matt Savoy and Ike Howard. And I mean, they blew the doors off Nashville. The numbers, and I know that the underlying numbers aren't everybody's friend, but these really do tell you exactly what was happening when Savoy and Roslovic and Jack Howard were on the ice last night, and it's really something special. Here you go. They were on for 552, 6-0 shots, 100% expected goals, and 2-0 high danger chances. Didn't cash, but they were good. And the coach says he'll play them again, which means at least 2 shifts in game 2 out together. Adam Henrique hurt. Sounds like he's going to be out for a little while. I think that means that Curtis Lazar will move into the middle. I don't know that they can bring up Josh Szymanski yet, but I think that Quinn Hudson might get the call here. And I do expect an Andrew Mangiapane trade not long from now. Gentlemen, how are you doing as far as the Oilers game last night? What did you see? What did you think? And what do you have to say for yourselves today?
Yeah, I want to start with this. Like, I think we are to a degree numb to Connor McDavid's greatness. And that's what I was really thinking, especially during his first goal, where, he gets it entering the zone and just walks in. Whoever he dog walked someone. I mean, and then just a nifty, like, there are teams who will never see a Connor McDavid play for their franchise. There are fans who will never see a Connor McDavid play for their franchise. And we get to watch him 82 times a year. And it really hit me. Like, the things he does are so special. And he is such an unreal talent and such an unbelievable player. And one day it's going to be all gone. And I'm not talking like in 2.5 years he leaves for another.
But
I'm talking about like he's not going to play hockey anymore.
Time is undefeated.
Yeah, Father Time's undefeated. One day he's not going to be able to play the game of hockey anymore. And what he is able to do on a night in, night out basis over the last, 11 years now in Edmonton, like we have become so numb to his greatness and the things he does that are like, if you are in the NHL, you are in the top 0.01% of hockey players. And Connor McDavid does things that is in the top 0.01% of that. And he makes it look easy. And it's just it's such a spectacle. And I've been very hard on this team for not having a Stanley Cup. I stand by that, but I still think like the things he are able to do and the movements he make, like, it is just the appreciation we have to have for it cannot be understated because it is so special and it won't last forever.
Josh,
that first goal, that 99 times out of 100 when it's a goal is off the back end. Connor McDavid put it off his forehand.
Yeah.
That's ludicrous. Like, that is insane. No way should that ever come off the forehand. That was a get right game. I think that's the term was flying around here yesterday was just what the doctor ordered was going up against the Preds, and it fully delivered on what it was supposed to be with this mini skid the Oilers were having, right? So they have a lot of home games this month. Like, there's a possibility that we watch Connor McDavid cross 100 points. It's sometime in this month, right? Like, he's the first player to ever have 75 points.
What a milestone!
What a milestone! According to Declan's Twitter.
Crazy. One thing I'll say is that if I had tried that move, at least one of my knees would be in the third row. Like, how you do that?
Like, Lowetide, to that, pretty much to that exact point. Like, me and my girlfriend, we went skating last night at like 9 or whatever. Or no, I guess maybe it would have been a little bit later than that. probably, I guess it would have been closer to 10, right?
Very important we get the time.
Well, because I'm trying to prorate it to the end of the game. But my point being is, like, I'm not the best skater in the world by any stretch of the imagination, probably by all standards, a poor skater, actually. But just flying around out there, it's so much fun. And like just the little movements, like when you're actually on the ice and when you're skating, just having fun at like a community rink.
Yeah.
When you think about what these NHL players are able to do and the movements there, but like it's incredible. And that was another thing that really made me appreciate Connor McDavid's greatness.
It was touched by God. That's how he's this great.
Well, we all are, but continue.
But in the hockey way. And just outstanding. By the way, some positive news. This is from Danielle Bain. Some positive news for NHL Jets defenseman Hayden Fleury. I don't know if you saw the play. It was really ugly looking. Head coach Scott O'Neill says he was able to come home from the hospital last night. Broken nose and bruised back. Not surprised. Will continue to be evaluated in terms of any concussion symptoms. That is great news. Great news, because that really didn't look good at all. That was really scary. I one of the last things I saw before I went to bed last night. I was like, oh my God, I don't think that's very good. The Major League Baseball has kind of slowed down, but there are activities happening. And we do have a trade. I don't know if that it's complete or not yet. The last I heard, it was going like this. It was Edward Cabrera to the Chicago Cubs, and Owen Casey, who's an outfielder, was one of the key players coming back. That's all I got. But that's what we have so far. We'll keep you updated on that during rumors and throughout the day. A couple of other things that have happened. Where are we here? Rockies have claimed Keegan Thompson. And there was one other, and I can't find it, but it was, I think, a Baltimore Orioles waiver pickup. There's a lot going on because teams have signed free agents and now they're DFAing players, and some they trade and some you don't. Marco Luciano claimed off waivers by the Orioles. So there are activities happening. Anything in baseball or anything in football last night that we should be aware of?
Harbaugh got fired.
Is that a big deal?
That's a big deal. Big deal.
I'm teasing.
A lot of John Morton, offensive coordinator for the Lions. He's out after one season. Joe Witt, Cliff Kingsbury, they're both out as the coordinators in
I
Washington.
think that happened while we were on air here, though.
Okay.
No, but he's just
My
reviewing
fault.
everything. It's
My
all
fault.
good.
Good review.
It's
Good
okay.
review.
Yeah, the John Harbaugh one is crazy. Like, he was there 18 years, 12 playoff appearances, 6 division titles, a Super Bowl, and he only had 3 losing seasons. Like,
That's a really good resume.
I understand it was probably stale and a change was needed, but like, is it going to be better with the next coach you bring in? Are they going to have another 18 years like that? Like, probably not. The grass isn't always greener. And John Harbaugh, his phone already lighting up according to his agent.
Yeah, but don't you think this is the second time in 2 days you've said, I was really surprised that guy won't be out of work long. Who was the other one?
Stefanski.
Right. So this gets back to teams that are like in some cases, this is, as you say, too long at the fair. And I get that. I understand the idea. But when you have a really good coach and you don't know you have a really good coach, is that sort of one of the defining moments for an ownership group when you don't know what you've got till it's gone, to borrow a line from Joni Mitchell?
No, I think they knew what they had. Again, no one is surprised that John Harbaugh was this is not, I was like surprised that they actually did it, but this has been, I think his seat has been progressively getting hotter ever since Lamar Jackson won his first MVP. Like, that's just kind of the way it is. When you have a quarterback like that,
You got to get over the hump.
But
isn't
one of the problems the quarterback?
No,
like,
I
he
don't.
does make some stupid plays.
Honestly, like, he's got
He's
2
gotten
MVPs.
so much better.
He should have 3. Like, he should have more MVPs than Mahomes and Allen combined, if we're being just serious, right? Like, it's tough to put blame on him.
Well, it's 18 years, so it's not like he didn't have a nice run there.
And a Super Bowl. Like,
Right.
And he won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, who is elite, but Hall of very good. So to do it with a quarterback like that, very impressive. I was surprised that it was actually like they pulled the trigger on John Harbaugh, but it's one of those things where sometimes you just need a new voice in the room. So I guess I'm at odds with Declan here. It was like, they know that John Harbaugh is a good coach, but maybe you got to go find someone better. This isn't exactly the Titans firing Mike Vrabel 2 years ago, right?
I feel that. I
Yeah.
think it's the same with Stefanski in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think
I don't think
you
it's
guys
the
are-
same with Stefanski
Okay,
in Cleveland.
You're not on the same page.
To me, that's Vrabel and the Titans.
I think it's probably somewhere in the middle.
I think he is a victim of circumstance of poor general managing and ownership of the Cleveland Browns. And he's the best thing he's the most consistent part of that organization that they've had outside of Myles Garrett, who plays defense.
And they should have traded.
Who almost got traded, but
to the Eagles.
He took money. No, he was never going to go to the Eagles.
Yes.
It would have been.
Howie loves those guys.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have been able to afford him. And like, you would have had to give something up.
Sure.
That was like, you would have had to give up a Jalen Carter, who's not nearly as valuable as Myles Garrett. As we saw, he set the sack record this year.
He's awesome.
In like 200 less snaps than Michael Strahan set it.
Like, if they don't win with Garrett, then they should have to turn in their NFL club card.
That's like, as good as he is, it's really hard to affect the game. That like, it's not.
You can't.
You have to have more.
Than
just
just
Myles
an
Garrett.
How long has he been there, and how long has he signed for?
He was number 1 overall in what, 2016?
No, 2018, wasn't it? 2017.
All right, we were right in the middle. So yeah, what would that be?
So during the time that he is like in his prime, it's sort of like the McDavid argument, although he's not.
Yeah, but
an offensive player.
It's different with Myles because the organization went to him and said, Myles, we will trade you if you want it. Do you want to be traded? And he said, yes, I do. And they said, okay, Myles, we will trade you. And then he turned around and he said, actually, I'll sign that 4-year, $160 million contract. So,
all right.
Okay. Victim of his own circumstance.
Great player.
NBA, anything we can talk about?
Whoa, we don't want to step on the toes of Duncan with Declan.
Yeah, but we can tease.
I don't think there's no like groundbreaking like trades or anything going on.
There might be with Trae Young coming up here soon.
Yeah. What about the 76ers? Have they won the division yet?
No, they lost to basically they lost to a Nuggets team that didn't have a single player from their starting 5 playing 2 days ago.
Okay. They are, I wanted to make sure they're 5-5 in their last 10, and that is so who they are.
All right, we're gonna take a break. I want to talk about 3 things, and we'll do some of it during rumors. The 3 things, we've got Kevin McCurdy at 1:00, and we have Declanations, Duncan with Declan coming up at 1:40. I want to talk about 3 things. One is the Jets set a record this year that is impossible, but they did. Former Edmonton Oil King has been released from an NHL team, and I have an idea about what they're going to do about Adam Henrique and his injury, and that's all on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Vinny and Don in Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, register for a free shadow day. Beginner or experienced, this program develops a student athlete skill in a supportive environment. It's a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 3 through 12 to see what Vinny and Donnan have to offer. Visit vinnyridge.epsb.ca or donnan.epsb.ca for more info and to sign up.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Excavators, loaders, lifts.
Penalty shot. 3 for 7 all time. Connor McDavid breaks in on UC Soros. Waited until the last. Hop off the dashers and McDavid on a point-blank look. Here's Drydson. Moving it to Bouchard. McDavid cuts left to the There's no adequate defense for moves like that. Flat-footed. The back. Rock issues now with 4. Luka stumbles, has it. That is Luka Magic.
Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Wednesday means Kevin McCurdy at 1, and at 1:40, it's Declinations. Time now for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself, greatcanadiansolar.com. I haven't had a thing to drink, but Declan is over here with a mountain of Ricola, and I don't know what's in it. So, how are you feeling? Are you okay?
I'm okay. Definitely a little sick.
Yeah, but it's going around, right?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
And if I get sick, so what? I was an old man. You know, it's no big deal. Don't you think, though, like we were going to get together with some folks over Christmas time, and there was a lot of illness going, like a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, do you get flu shots?
I haven't got a flu shot this year.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm getting to an age where I probably should, you know. All right. Where do we want to go? Okay, let's start here. We're going to get to the football thing in a second, but the Edmonton Oilers won last night. I thought Kasperi Kapanen played really well. And it allowed the team to move Jack Roslovic to the third line. And lo and behold, Roslovic with 2 young guys, Ike Howard and Matt Savoy, played really well in about 6 minutes. They had 100% expected goal share. They were like 5 or 6-0 shots, a couple of high dangers, really good. Now, you never want anybody to be injured. But with Henrique hurt and Mangiapane likely gone soon and Frederick playing a depth role or in the press box, it gives the coach a chance to see how these young players are doing. And I wonder if when Mangiapane goes, we might see possibly young Quinn Hudson back up, because I like him as a two-way guy. And they don't have very many of those guys who could maybe play on a checking third line. And I just thinking out loud, I know they have Szymanski down there for center, but Lazar probably plays center for the next while on the fourth line. And that might give an opportunity for Hudson to come up here and do some things. Dyson Mayo has been placed on waivers by the Columbus Blue Jackets and Mason Marchand has been placed on the IR. Mayo was here in the, let's see here, a decade and more ago. Played 4 years with the Edmonton Oil Kings. Has carved out a slight NHL career, 84 games. He was a 5th-round pick in 2014. But you never know if these guys might be his last shot at the National Hockey League. And he made the most of it. Capitals have recalled Brett Leeson, who's one of those tweeners who does have talent, but it's a matter of getting into a situation where you can, do some damage. It looks like Szymanski is on the German team at the Olympics. He's in the AHL for the Oilers right now, but he apparently will join Leon Draisaitl at the Olympics playing for Team Germany. Okay. So a record was set that is impossible, but did happen by the New York Jets this year in the National Football League. And this isn't one of those things that's embarrassing. It's whatever's past embarrassing. It's almost impossible, I would say. Declan, what record was set by the Jets?
Not a record you want to have. They had no interceptions this year.
17 games.
Yes, and I just want to get the year right for the last time a team had no
1933.
19,
were they throwing
there we
forward
go.
passes then?
They were. So the league leader that year had 945 passing yards. I remember that stat. It's an unfathomable stat to not have a single pick. And here's the other thing, like they're coached by Aaron Glenn. And so someone like Aaron Glenn was a DB who had an interception, at least one every single year except his rookie year. Like it would, I don't know what someone said a good comparison would be like if an MLB team went the whole season and didn't catch anyone stealing. I think it was it was coached by managed by someone who was really good at catching people stealing. Like it's crazy. I honestly don't think we'll ever see it again. It is so unfathomable that it happened. Like you couldn't, like if you were a defense next season who tried to get 0 interceptions, I'm not sure that you could do it. It is so crazy to think about.
Even knocking it down accidentally, you'd catch it.
No, like yes, like it's crazy. It was a crazy stat.
I have to say I saw it a few weeks, or we talked about it a few weeks before the end of the season, and I was like, well, they'll get it. Like, they'll move heaven and earth because who the devil wants this thing, right? Mm-hmm. But they didn't. They did not get it. And now you're sitting here with like an all-timer record. I guess it'll help next year's team because there's no way they can be this bad 2 years in a row.
You would think, but the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be better. Commanders requesting interview Pat Graham from the Raiders, defensive coordinator job. That's the process now, right? Where you're restructuring contracts, you're losing your AC or your DC to another team as they moved up. And then we're talking about like things like Ty Simpson has decided to leave Alabama and join the NFL draft, right?
Yeah. I also, no disrespect, I can't possibly imagine you wanting to interview the Raiders defensive coach to come join your staff. And now, like, their biggest problem was definitely their offensive line, like, and just kind of their offense as a whole. But even still, like, it might even be less than a lateral move, bringing in Pat Graham as your DC.
What's the biggest surprise since the season ended for you? Since the end of the regular season, all these moves, all these discussions, what's the biggest surprise in the NFL?
For me, I was surprised to see Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Witt get let go. They were only there 2 years, and they went to the conference title game last year. It seems like it was a little bit quick, especially because, like, I'm not sure how much I love Dan Quinn as a head coach. I know he's been to a Super Bowl. He's also had some really bad seasons, this one included. I think they were, like, I thought Cliff Kingsbury called a fine offense. They just didn't have the guys there. Jaden was hurt. I thought they were a little too quick on the trigger with that one. If it had been 2 bad years, okay. They were in the NFC Championship game last year, So,
and this was a year plagued by injuries, basically.
Yes. Their defense was bad. Joe Witt maybe makes a little bit more sense. I thought Cliff Kingsbury was a tough one.
Yeah, especially because they actually hunt in some games offensively that they ended up losing. But like that game against the Broncos, Mariota was incredible down the stretch, and the plays they called were great. So yeah, I'd probably be with you that's that, and then I think I have Stefanski too.
All right, biggest upset in the NFL playoffs this weekend. Call it, Josh. You start.
Oh boy. In terms of seeding or in terms of the spread?
No, in terms of your opinion about the biggest upset. Who do you think is going to rock and roll the favorite?
Who do the 49ers play?
Eagles.
I think it'll be the 49ers over the Eagles. Sorry, Tide.
The Eagles still favored?
They're favored by 4.5.
What is wrong with people?
And I love San Francisco at plus 4.5. I don't know if I love a money line, but plus 4.5 might be nuclear whale missile play.
Why am I watching Elgard catch balls?
Or watching the greatest Grey Cup games ever played.
It was a great game.
1989, man.
That was awesome. All right. So you say San Francisco. What about you, Declan?
I kind of like. I kind of like the Chargers over the Pats.
Wow,
I like that too.
Connor's
That's a good.
back,
That's
so
a good shout.
A good one, yeah.
Yep. I don't love it, but I kind of like it. I look at the Reds like I think LA is going to go into Carolina and beat Carolina, even though Carolina beat them once this season. Actually, you know what? How about this? Chicago's the underdog at home versus Green Bay. So, yeah, let me get Chicago.
That's also a good one.
Let me get Chicago money line all day.
All right, okay. Moving over to the NBA, the Mavs are fielding calls on Anthony Davis, but they're in no hurry, apparently, according to Sam Amick of The Athletic. They'd like to see Davis alongside Kyrie and Cooper Flagg and can envision a scenario in which he stays in Dallas long term. Is that real, or do you think he'll get traded?
I mean, I think Anthony Davis will not get traded, and I don't think it's going to be because, I mean, I do think that Cooper Flagg and Kyrie and AD playing together would light up and be a good starting rotation, but I think it's that like Anthony Davis's trade value. Like, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is an incredible player. He is so good, but at this stage in his career, he's been so injury prone. I just don't think his trade value is as high as the Mavs are going to want it to be. And this is a guy who you want to see in a winning situation. And the only team that's going to give the Mavs even close to what it is they want is going to be a team that's like bottoming out and needs someone to sell tickets. Or, Anthony Davis is going to change this thing. Like if the Wizards trade for Trae Young and then they're like, all right, next step, we got to go get Anthony Davis. It's not really what you want if you're Anthony Davis. So I don't think he's on the move. Prove me wrong, though. I don't want to see him on the Raptors.
It'll be interesting because I do think he can get a team over the hump, but he's such a Band-Aid and he's older. And I don't know.
I would like to just take a moment here. And I don't do this officially. Every once in a while, I award cool points. And today's cool points go to Declan because it's been at least a week since he mentioned Jimmy Butler.
That's not true.
Mentioned him yesterday.
And
I didn't hear him.
Because Jimmy Butler airballed the game-winning shot, and Steve Kerr.
You're right.
You mentioned that as you were watching Steve Kerr.
So the cool points go to you for pointing that out, Josh. There you
Although,
go.
can I get some because it was a criticism of Jimmy Butler?
Okay, you can have one, and
There
he
we
gets
go.
10, and don't spend them all in one place.
What's the ratio of how much value is in cool points to like $1?
Why don't you go to the store and find out?
All right. Just thought you'd have the conversion.
Maybe
on that.
you can film it because I'd like to see you claim that cool points could buy you a double bubble, for instance.
Well, those are only like, what are they now? 49 cents or something. I remember when they were 10 cents at 7-Eleven.
I think I mean, maybe they weren't a penny. Maybe they were 5. I don't remember now. Cubs and Marlins are nearing an agreement for righty Edward Cabrera, who's a good pitcher. He's got great stuff. He frustrates people with injuries and control. But I think that's a good get for them. Apparently, Owen Casey, a pretty good outfielder prospect, is coming back, but that has not been confirmed. We'll keep you up to date as the afternoon rolls along. That is a very interesting one if it does happen. There are all kinds of rumors that, and I'm not going to specifically say whom because it's like 15 different places, but it's not Rosenthal. But it sounds like the Jays are in deep on Tucker, and they're going to offer him a long term for a lot. And if he doesn't go there, it'll be a short-term deal with the Dodgers, and that deal will be 3 years with 2 opt-outs kind of deal. So that's where we are with, and I think once that happens, then we'll see Bregman and Bichette. We reported yesterday that Bichette unlikely to go to Toronto, and that tells you they've checked down to another candidate. And Tucker's that lefty bat with hair on his ass we've talked about for so long. Do you think people get upset when I use that phrase? Is that an inappropriate phrase? I
think you're okay.
Okay. Cool points are the equivalent of, I don't even know what that is, Team Dean.
Shroot Bucks?
Yeah, what's
How
that?
do you not know? Oh,
Office reference.
Yeah. I was going to see if you had seen it because Shroot Bucks, it's the 1,000 of them is equal to 1 cent.
Okay, and where's that reference from?
The Office, US.
Oh, okay.
And then Stanley says, I'll give you 100 Stanley nickels to never talk to me again. Says, what's the conversion rate of Stanley nickels to Shroot Bucks? And he says, about the same as unicorns to leprechauns.
All right. So I think we're in the ballpark. We're sort of on the same page that way. When I was watching last night's game, a few things were clear to me, and I just have to say, and I know I get things on the brain, and then I just repeat them over and over again. And I'm sure it's irritating, but there's two things that I noticed last night. One is really good, and one is not really good. One is that I didn't see as many stretch passes. There was controlled breakouts. There were great passes. There were transportation outlets where, McDavid was skating out of his own zone and into the neutral zone and then into the offensive zone. They just looked so confident. And I understand they're playing Nashville, but that's what you want to see. You want the freewheeling Bob Dylan and you want the freewheeling Edmonton Oilers. And then the other side of it is, and maybe it's part and parcel of that. Maybe one of the reasons this happens is because they're doing so much transportation or deft passes out of the zone. But my God, they were turning over the puck at the blue line a lot. And I think it was mostly because of indecision. So, I feel like Nick Lidstrom would just turn around and check back and start again and make the forwards come back. And maybe that's what they have to do. Because the Oilers, the way they played last night, and I know it's Nashville, but sometimes when you see the game slowed down, you can see what the coaches are saying in terms of the potential of this team. And clearly there's a lot of potential. But those turnovers of the blue lines are absolute death. And I love the fact that they weren't using that long stretch pass so often. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm just saying when they can read you, when they're game planning for it, then it makes whatever play you're going to make less effective. And that's where the Oilers are now with that stretch pass. Everybody's playing it. Everybody's seen it against Florida, and everybody is damn good and sure that they're going to be able to, make it happen. What is happening with that one piece of hair that I have? Is it just going forever now? And why don't you tell me about it?
Don't talk to me. You're the one that does your hair every day.
I think it's the headphone. You think I should wear one of those like small, like earplug kind of headphones?
Like Carius?
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I think you'd find the sound a lot worse.
Yeah,
so it's really a quality of life thing at that point.
No. Good point.
But also, don't change what you've been doing just because you're on video now. Doesn't matter.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, don't go chasing waterfalls.
All right. Declan, can you tease a little bit what's happening on Declanations?
Yeah, Duncan with Declan. I do want to talk a little bit about Trey Young and that him and Atlanta are working on a trade and where he may go and what he's able to contribute. I want to talk about just kind of the lay of the land. Like I got through, I think 4 teams a couple weeks ago. I'd like to do that again. Like I want to go through some of the teams and just kind of give my takes on them, where they at. Like I think a lot of people thought OKC was this unbeatable monster. It's not really the case. They have weaknesses. It'll be a pretty generic 15-minute little wrap up of the NBA.
So I have no prep after there. So you're going to take the 15 minutes.
All right.
All right. Kevin McCurdy will join us at 1:00 today. We're going to talk about the Henrique injury, the imminent Mangiapane trade, Frederick, and where he's going to play, if he'll play, and then why the GM not only should keep his powder dry on July 1st, which we've talked about, but I'm beginning to think they should just leave everything alone at the deadline. And that way they won't be trading first-round picks anymore. We'll talk about it. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Lots of texts coming in. Pass along a few here. The Brendo says Howard looks good. He and Savoy need to play more and make more mistakes. I know you agree. Failure's a bruise. What ifs are a hole in the soul. Wow, that's a little bit of poetry there by Brendo. It's true, though. You got to play them. You have to play them, and then you know what you have at the deadline. And maybe you don't trade them, but maybe you fade them a little bit. I agree with keeping first-round picks unless you get game changers. The Henrique for a first was very unwise, I thought, unless you're getting a 26-year-old Rico. Yeah, I think Matthias Ekholm was a wise trade, and that was a lot, but it paid off. But you're right. You have to aim high, and you have to make sure they're healthy. I mean, Frederick, I hate to keep harping on this, but right at the time, there was injury issues. He was injured a week before or 2 weeks before the deadline. Well, it's traded for him anyway. Maybe don't do that. You should wear coconut headphones like the professor on Gilligan's Island from Oddball. That is such an obscure reference. I give you 2 cool points for that. Do you know that Jim Backus was in Gilligan's Island? He was the rich guy. His wife was Lovey, and he was the voice of Mr. Magoo, bringing it back to Josh. I don't like Regula the more I watch him. Less talented than Bouchard. Wallman comes back, he can sit, in my opinion. Emerson Stastny just fine from Jay. I don't think there's a lot wrong there. I would disagree. You can't look at a player who's struggling, and he is, and say that's the whole of him. But certainly I think he's the number 7 defenseman right now. And when Wallman comes back, you plug him in with Nurse and you leave Stastny, Emerson alone, because I think they're playing pretty well. Cool points are for nerds from the Fawns. I think I've said this before, but I have one standing request for a guest here. And we have various people who book guests at times, and Declan is the hero. But I'd like to introduce or interview Henry Winkler. That would be like the coolest thing. And I wouldn't even mention Jump the Shark. I'd mention all the other things that he's done. Dave. Scream. Right? I would mention,
Here Comes the Boom.
I would mention Happy Days, though.
Yeah, naturally. He's the Fonz.
Right. Talk about an iconic character, and it took him a while to get out of that, but he did. And he's a really great actor. An interesting guy, too. I follow him on Twitter, and he goes fishing every day.
Henry Winkler. One of the reasons that Rocky got made was Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. Fun fact for all you people out there.
Do you want to explain it?
So Sylvester Stallone had sold the movie to MGM or something. I forget who it was. Wherever Happy Days was coming from. And they said, great, thanks for the script. After they'd said, oh yeah, like we'll let you be around it, whatever. And then he just happened to be friends with Henry Winkler's brother, and he was talking about it. And he went to Henry and was like, hey, I need you to get this movie back. And so he walked into the offices and was like, sell Rocky back for the same price you got it for, or I'm done. I walk. And they were like, whatever you say, Fonz. And they sold it back to Sylvester Stallone, who then promptly sold it to a different company. Again, I forget who it is, Lionsgate or whatever. And
might have been Lionsgate.
And they were like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll let you star in it. And he said, great. And now we have 6 Rocky movies and 3 Creed movies, all because of Henry Winkler.
Well, I'm glad he made it because I mean, he's perfect for that. He's not perfect for every role he ever had. And, by First Blood 16, I was out. But
there's only 5 Rambo movies.
Yeah, I know.
First Blood 1, 2, 3. The one from like 07 or whatever, 11 maybe.
He was in one I watched that I enjoyed. I think it was called Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. People love Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That's a rewatchable staple for sure. I watched Cliffhanger. Not really for me. I like Demolition Man.
Don't know that one.
He's a cop that gets frozen at the same time, like cryogenically frozen at the same time as Wesley Snipes, who's the criminal that he's always chasing.
Oh my God, he's going to chase him in the future?
And then Wesley Snipes ends up getting thawed, so they thaw out Sylvester Stallone, and times have changed. It's like a world of peace.
Oh wow!
And so they brought him out to be like, "Hey man, you gotta go get this guy. We haven't seen this kind of crazy in 30 years." He's like, "All right, whatever you guys say."
Oh, wow! So he had carte blanche.
Yeah.
Did they have any weaponry to give him, or?
I forget, but there was like no swearing or anything. He couldn't figure out the seashells to wipe his butt.
He moved to Canada.
Dude, it was insane. It's a terrible movie, but it's super fun. Same as like Cobra,
Cobra, man. That now we are the barrel. We're right in the bottom. Levi says, do Bouchard bashers even look at stats? Well, they look at them, but the eye test is very strong on Bouchard, right? And a lot of people just don't believe in analytics. Like, they don't believe that it tells the story. And like, I get that. I understand. I don't agree, but I totally understand. But what I don't understand is when you look at the number of goals that are scored with Bouchard on the ice at 5-on-5 compared to those that are surrendered, it's really hard to say this guy is, he's no good. He's a bum. Get rid of him. I can't believe they signed him. Because, I mean, based on every stat I look at and based on boxcar numbers or underlying numbers, he's the third best player on the team. This year at 5-on-5, he's got 53% goal share. When he's off the ice, they're 41%. That's a gap. And he's done this for years. Certainly the last three, he's been really good that way. Now, he is 53% with Connor McDavid, and he's 52% without him. But McDavid is 48% without Bouchard. And you'll have people say, well, he's nothing without McDavid. Well, actually, he kind of is. And just to further the point, to belabor it, why wouldn't you want your best puck-moving defenseman on the ice with your best superstar forward? I mean, I think it's a really, really good match. Forget analytics. If the eye test doesn't show you how much good he does, then you're either willfully blind or don't understand the game as much as you think you do, from Mel Nate. Well, again, I'm going to push back the other way. Evan Bouchard is a great player, and I cheer for him like crazy. But every puck mover is going to make mistakes. Cale Makar made a big one the other night. But Bouchard makes mistakes where he seems indecisive. He seems overwhelmed. It's like, have you ever watched a video where a Komodo dragon is chasing after like a deer and the deer is kind of caught in the headlights? Bouchard's a little bit like that. And as he matures, all you would want is to see him reduce the number of those kinds of plays. I don't think that's an outrageous ask. I just believe that people who get, angry at Evan Bouchard for the mistakes he makes are not looking at the gigantic good that he does for this team at 5-on-5 and on the power play. And guess what? He's been rocking it on the penalty kill this year too. Problem is, Bouch stubs his toe when the team needs him to be tight. Well, the Oilers are really bad at, if they're up 3-1, it could be a tie in 3 minutes. And I think Florida exposed that in them. The Oilers have a way of, when they're up 4-1, somebody scores and then they don't settle down. And that's a franchise thing. The coach could call up timeout, for instance. That would be a good idea. But they do have a tendency to, run around in their own zen like a bunch of raccoons on the wild when they've given up a goal and they've got to protect the lead, instead of just doing what they do best, which is pushing the offense. If you're built for offense, then never give up pushing for it. Even if you're up 4-1, just keep going. And you're like, well, no, we'll play prevent. Prevent is garbage. If you start playing a different way because you've got a 2-goal lead, chances are it's going to be tied by the time you stop doing that. Push. And I know it's human nature. I get it. Henry Winkler and Sylvester Stallone were in the Lloyds of Flatbush together. I watched that movie. It was on the CBC many years ago. It was not a great movie. My dad hates the movie because there's a scene where Sly burns money on the mountain to stay warm. Dads, we're out there, man. And we can get outraged at anything. I get mad at the price of pepper myself. Anyone that doesn't think Bouchard is an idiot, is elite, is an idiot who needs to pick a different sport. Well, I think you have to hear the other side, the other individual, and you can disagree, but I don't think calling people idiots is a good idea. Just because of the internet, it's popular now, but I would never call people. I like my learned friends to my right are not huge Evan Bouchard fans, but I respect their opinions about Evan Bouchard. I simply disagree.
I like Bouch,
but not 10.5 million.
I understand the market.
Do you know how many arguments we had about Evan Bouchard being paid over 10 million?
You guys had a very famous one about, which I reference very often, about, the analytics say that he's great. And Declan saying, well, if 9 times out of 10 he makes the right play, but those 9 times are him dumping it off while he goes to get on the bench, but that 10th time is a giveaway that immediately results in a goal, then like it was an arguments an analytics argument, obviously, that centered around Evan Bouchard.
Right. And I think that we're at a point now where like they're invested in him. There's nowhere they can go. You're not going to trade him. At least if you are, you're going to have to trade him before next summer when the NMC cuts in. But I hear the other side. I think you want to cut down on those errors, but he's not alone. You know, Darnell Nurse makes a lot of turnovers. He does. I think everybody could go to school at the school of Matthias Ekholm, who makes fewer mistakes, I think, than the rest of the group. And you know, this young kid they got from Nashville, he's kind of doing the same. Maybe they should just steal Nashville's defensive coach and scouts. Just saying. Fans that hate Bouchard are emotionally stunted. Bouchard is fine. The only problem I have with him is he's scared to go into the corners. First, he always comes in later and lets the other guys do the dirty work. Actually, he doesn't. He avoids injury by doing that. We've talked about that before. I think we talked to Kevin McCurdy about that before. By the way, Kevin McCurdy on the way. We'll talk about the game last night, about Henrique's injury, what they're going to do about it, about the third line that everybody's excited about, as Roslovic centered Savoy and Ike Howard last night. That's all straight ahead, plus Declanation's Duncan with Declan at 1:40 today. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street. Now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 to 2. You can also visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. 5 games today in the NHL. Dallas and Washington get the action going at 5. Then we'll see Calgary, Montreal at 5:30. St. Louis and Chicago, and Ottawa and Utah both at 7:30. And the late game tonight sees the San Jose Sharks in LA to take on the Kings. Notable in that game, the LA Kings have placed forward Corey Perry on the non-roster playing status. Elsewhere in the NHL, the Jets defenseman Hayden Fleury has been released from hospital after suffering a broken nose and a bruised back. In the NHL, Toronto Raptors getting the day's action going at 5 o'clock as they're in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Other games on the slate today include Denver in Boston. Boston 9.5-point favorites for that one. And the LA Lakers in San Antonio to take on the Spurs, with the Spurs 7.5-point favorites for that one. Oil Kings in action tonight as they play the Swift Current Broncos at the Innovation Plex in Swift Current, 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian. The BCHL All-Star Game is coming to the Thompson Family Arena in Spruce Grove. The league's best players will go head-to-head in 2 exciting games, January 16th and 17th. The BCHL College Prospects Game takes place on Friday, January 16th at 7 p.m., while the premier matchup will see Canada take on the world on Saturday, January 17th at 7:30 p.m. For ticket inquiries and excellent group ticket packages, go to tickets.sgsaints.ca.
I skipped breakfast this morning. Stay out of my way.
Don't threaten me with your bad choices.
No worries. A booster bar from Booster Juice will fix me.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, because they're new. Snack-sized bars packed with seeds, pecans, gluten-free oats, all sorts of good stuff.
That sounds lovely, actually.
2 different flavors to try, too. Coconut pecan booster bars and harvest booster bars. Want to skip breakfast with me?
I take it back. You make good choices.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com and call today to get started.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lying in bed like Brian Wilson did. Well, I lie in bed just like Brian Wilson did.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. I think you and I, Declan, are the biggest fans of that particular band, certainly in this radio station.
Bare Naked Ladies?
Yeah.
What, Josh? Bare Naked Ladies guy?
No. He likes the country music.
Yeah, you're right.
No.
If it's not Nicki Minaj, Josh isn't listening.
Was she the one who did the U2 One song at the Grammys or whatever and just rocked the hell out of it with U2? Was that Nicki Minaj? I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't listen. I can't answer that.
Yeah, U2 is a little bit old for you, right? You don't really know who they are.
Joshua Tree is one of the best albums ever.
Yeah, I really like that.
No skips on that one.
Boy, very good. The Unforgettable Fire, was that the other one?
I have no idea. We do have Kevin, though.
Well, Kevin, you know, he's a patient man. He'll be fine. We're doing rock and roll history. It's important. All right, we're joined now by our friend Kevin McCurdy, who is very patient, but we should get to him. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing well, Alan. How are you doing this week?
Good. I I really have to say that Connor McDavid is the most entertaining athlete like imaginable. And it always gives me a thrill that he plays in little old our town. Last night, the first was a work of art. The second was brilliant. The third was also very good. And he's worth the price of admission and then some.
I gotta say, I'd spent a little bit of the last couple of years, criticizing Connor a little bit more than I have ever before, and we'd seen some either signs of injury or fatigue or what have you. But whatever has happened with Connor, this is the best iteration that I can remember in years now. Like it's unbelievable hockey that he's playing. They're still innovating when it comes to the playoff. That break in, I guess, was new material that they used just for Connor's first goal. Outstanding stuff. It wasn't just Connor. It was a great play by Leon and Bouchard and Connor to make that goal happen. But absolutely incredible against UC Soros of all goalies.
Yeah, he's I stupidly I wrote an article in November about he's the high point for a career is 25 to 27. McDavid turns 29 in January. This might be the beginning of the long slow coda of his career. Immediately afterwards, he jumps to like skyrocketing numbers. And my concern was at 5-on-5. His 5-on-5 goal share was lower. It's back up to 250 now with a 1.16 goals per 60. Whatever, if there's a burr under his saddle, or if he's just feeling good, or there was a small tweak, as you say, in exits and entries, whatever it is, my God, it is wonderful to watch, and he really is on another level.
Yeah, Connor is as powerful a force as he's ever been right now. And, that's saying something. We've seen some pretty sensational hockey out of him over the last decade or so. But, he's a phenomenally gifted hockey player. I wouldn't be quick to say that he's ever really going to be washed in the same way that Sidney Crosby is probably. Sidney Crosby will be retired before he probably actually has to retire, because he just has that longevity in his game. And I think we'll see, Connor's such a clever hockey player. I think we'll see the same thing with him, where he's always finding a way to make something happen.
Then we checked down to Leon Draisaitl. I called him Johnny Cash in the intro because when he plays Nashville, he's just a legend, and he was again last night. I like his line with Kapanen. I thought that was really good. And, I also like the Savoy, Roslovic, and Ike Howard line. Coaches, we're going to see that again. Are they starting to figure some things out here as we enter the January and sort of the run up to the Olympics?
I don't know how to process this thing that we call a third line. I don't know. I'm so used to seeing mediocrity, and to see a line actually like excel, and both actually the third and fourth lines to excel and even dominate for a game is really refreshing to see. I do want to see more of this Roslovic Savoy combination. I think that and Howard together. I think that there's potential there. I do want to see them against tougher competition and a tougher forecheck, and see if they're still successful. To be fair to Nashville, they've had some success recently, but they aren't the best team in the league. And not saying that Winnipeg's getting it done, but they play a much more aggressive forecheck style. And if they can get it done against tougher competition, then we might actually have a third line to look forward to.
What like, will they, like, is that the end of bike lanes? Like, we've got to rethink everything if they come up with three outscoring lines.
I don't even know how to process this. I don't know how to deal with this, Alan. Like, it's mind-numbing stuff. Like, we've been so used to having a line and a half or two lines out of the what most teams bring, three lines. To see them actually have some success is interesting. The thing that I find more interesting is it took taking Mangiapane and Frederick and, rather in an unplanned manner, Henrique out of the lineup in order to make that happen. And it really does leave you scratching your head of, what's next for those guys. I won't be surprised if Mangiapane's played his last game as an Oiler. Sounds like he was looking for a change of scenery, and the Oilers were looking to give him one. I don't know how much success they've had finding him a deal, but I've heard that there at least a couple of teams were at least cursory interested in that move. Henrique has leaned heavily on his no movement clause. I don't see that changing, and he's hurt anyways. Sounds like he's going to be out a little while. And then I don't know what we're going to do about Trent Frederick, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, I think with Frederick, I mean, NHL Edge has his foot speed down again this year. I think you just have to wait until he recovers from the high ankle sprain. And I know that there's a lot of people who say the foot speed isn't, a problem. He's right back where he was. Well, NHL Edge is either lying or there is an issue there. And then secondly, you can tell by the way he's playing, he's lost his confidence. He doesn't feel like he's the player that he needs to be. And he, more than anybody would know if he's right or not. I think time in the press box is not a terrible idea.
No, and I think that they might have to be a little heavy-handed for it for a little bit. This guy is on an 8-year deal. He got paid really good money for 8 years in order to be a type of player for us, and he hasn't been able to live up to his end of the agreement really at all. And it's fair to say that he might be injured, but I wonder if it's more of a confidence injury than it is an actual foot injury at this point. And to be fair, again, like I said, I've said a couple of times on the show, Leon Draisaitl had a high ankle sprain, and he wasn't right for quite a while afterwards. So I have lots of time for Trent Frederick to figure it out. It just would be nice to see some glimmers of the player that we hoped we were getting.
Well, he got injured, I think like April, last time, he retweaked it April of 2025.
Mhm.
And his foot speed last year was 35.48 kph. And this year it's 34.96. So he was injured last year, and it was way off of his previous high or average. And it's down again this year. So for me, I think it's twofold. I do think confidence is an issue, but I also think it's foot speed. Let me ask you, move on, because I think that Mangiapane's trade is going to set up an interesting option here, because they sent down Quinn Hudson, and he scored 2 more goals and picked up an assist last night. I just think he might be more ready than they think that he is, and I'd like to see him play. If he's going to make an impact in the NHL, if he comes up and plays well enough, then I'd like to see him play 30 games before the playoffs, because he might end up playing playoff games. And you can say, well, come on, he's a rookie, but he does have good speed, and he's got a two-way reputation, and he's been outscoring like crazy in the AHL. What do you think about the idea of somehow getting another young player into this lineup? And I know they're stacked right now, especially on that third line that has us most flummoxed. But do you think there's room maybe for one more guy in the group?
Potentially, yes, but riddle me this: if Frederick's in the press box, are you bringing up Quinn Hudson, or are you bringing up Clattenburg? Because right now they're missing that archetype.
Well, I think the reason why I would bring up because I think like Clattenburg didn't look out of place up here. He doesn't try to do.
He didn't.
Right. So I think you've got that. But with Hudson, we don't know enough about him yet. So I think I would go with that. And hey, you never know. But if they call up Clattenburg, that's fine, because he's 20 years old and he did not look out of place. And part of it was, when you see young players come up, they're often trying to do too much, stick handle and, make big plays. And Clattenburg's got surprisingly good hands for the player that he is, but he doesn't try to transport the puck, and he doesn't try to make fancy passes. He really is a nuts and bolts kind of guy. So I think you've got, what he is. My question for you in that regard, though, is when we talk about the deadline, I don't know that the goaltending's solved, but I'd like to run with these 2 or 3 guys until the deadline. The defense looks like, currently, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but it looks like Alec Regula is taking a step backwards, but you've got Wallman coming back. And then there's the issue with center, and we don't know how long Henrique is out. So do you see center, a right defenseman, or maybe goaltending as being the big deadline issue, understanding they don't have a lot of money to play with?
They don't have a lot of money to play with. They don't have a lot of assets to play with. I saw at least one suggestion that they would have to spend somebody like Hudson or Howard in order to undo some of the mistakes that were made this summer. I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I think that in terms of my priority list, I would be looking. Right now, goaltending seems like it's mostly okay. I get that we still are dealing with some reclamation projects. We do have Connor Unger up down in the minors, who is playing 940 goaltending at every level of hockey that he plays at both in the ECHL and at the AHL level. You have to wonder if maybe they give him a shot at the NHL if it keeps translating from league to league without any regression in his ability. That might be an interesting thing to look at. I do think that the bottom six still could use some help or move some pieces around. I liked the speedy version of the Oilers that we got last night. Once you take the guys out that their foot speed is lacking, even Janmark is on the fast side. Yeah, he doesn't score a lot, but he does a lot of stuff right defensively, and he's a good puck transporter, and he's a pretty decent passer too, an 85th percentile in zone entries. So he does some things right in his game. So if they can keep this high pace of play, and they can get their defensemen to actually stay healthy, I think it's probably bottom six first, then defenseman, then goaltending. But any of those things can change between now and the deadline. It depends on what teams shake loose. If Alex Tuch shakes loose, or somebody else shakes loose that they've been interested in, like Jared McCann or Nick Roy in Toronto, although I don't see them moving him. Those are those kind of like third line centers I could see them going after. But I would say, as it sits right now, things are starting to come together, and even still, it's probably still the bottom six that needs the most help.
Yeah, it's one thing I noticed last night. They turned over the puck like a ton of times early, but then they didn't use the stretch passes as much, and then they did kind of settle down and do really nice exits and entries, which I think is like key. I think that they got discombobulated by the Panthers. They stopped doing what they did well after Stetcher got crumbled in the corner, and it changed the entire series. And I know that they're working on stretch passes that work, and they've had that in the system, but they're using it too much. Did you see anything last night with the exits and entries that gives you some encouragement?
I do think they're starting to look at alternatives and to carry the puck a little bit more, and to find the smart lateral passes to keep the puck moving. I still think there's room for improvement there. Again, we're playing Nashville, right? Like, if we saw last night's results against somebody like Florida or Tampa or Colorado or something like that, I would be singing the praises right now. So I really do want to see this against a little bit tougher quality of competition, with teams that are faster and more nimble at picking things off. But I think that power play was a great example of just a little bit of innovative thinking about how to get into the zone. They used Leon to pierce the zone, and then a quick lateral pass to Bush, and then a quick lateral pass to McDavid, who is pulling up in like a trailing capacity rather than a piercing capacity. And it just completely changed the dynamic of the entry and gave McDavid all kinds of room to work, because there's two guys already committed to the left side to defend Leon and Bouchard. So if they can translate some of this, what they're doing on the power play, into their even strength hockey, oh my goodness, look out.
Yeah, we're seeing, McFarland came here at the beginning of the year, and they're trying some things out. I talked to Eric Tulsky years ago on the Lowdown about, he wrote an article for the Flyers website. Can't remember the name of it now. Broad Street Bully, something like that. And it was all about the most important work you do on rushes at 5-on-5 is in the neutral zone. And if you look at that play, any play through the neutral zone, where you can get somebody with speed, the puck, it's almost like the defenders get past, and the play's over as soon as you make the pass that is completed to the rushing forward. And that's they have so much speed on this team at the top end that might be an area that they can utilize even against really good teams.
Well, and again, back to that power play again. The reason why it was successful is because it's usually McDavid is the guy picking it up with speed at the defensive blue line, but in this case, he was picking it up with speed at the offensive blue line, and that's completely changes that dynamic. There's no neutral zone to pad that out, right? Like they have to deal with McDavid going 40 kilometers an hour at the ringette line,
which
you can't do. He made that entire team look dumb, and that they're not bad hockey players. None of these guys are bad. At the NHL level, every one of these guys there's a reason that they're playing in this league. And I don't know how you counter that kind of play. Beside from being stronger in the neutral zone on the penalty kill, and that introduces its own vulnerabilities.
And then you're looking at a team that has been predictable with the stretch passes. And then if they do things that are different enough, then they can go back to the stretch pass if they want. Just don't overuse it. I think every organization, doesn't matter who it is. When I was a kid, the Baltimore Orioles wouldn't throw fastballs. They had great fastball pitchers, but they wouldn't throw fastballs. But when you don't do something, then you are telegraphing what you're going to do. And I feel like the Oilers have been in that since the final against Florida. I think that really did a job on this coaching staff. If they are coming out of it, that would be nice to see.
Yeah, and I think I pointed out more than once that in the past this team has been able to pick how they defeated teams, right? And having that huge toolbox that you could pick forecheck based winning, or you could pick long stretch pass, or you could pick youth speed, or you could pick whatever, and end up winning hockey games. When you have more than one tool available in your toolbox, and when you upgrade your toolbox, then you have more options available to you, and there's more stuff that the other team has to defend against, and it becomes subsequently higher just because of all the possible permutations for a team to defend against it. So it's really important that they have these options available, and they're not just trying to use one play, because there's going to be some team along that they come across in the playoffs that does that one style of defense really well, and it's just going to be their kryptonite. And if they have nothing else in their toolbox, then it's going to be a short off season. But if they have lots available to them, then they can just pick another way to beat the team and go out of them a different way and pick a weakness instead. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that even through some of the bumps and bruises here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right. Expectations for January. They got a nice schedule here. They did not look good against Boston and Philly, but often they get the tryptophan turkey holiday brains, and it doesn't work well for a game or two. And I think we're out of that. What do you expect to see here against Winnipeg and then to the end of January?
I expect to see a dominant team coming out of the gate from here on out. I mean, this team is clearly figuring some things out. They're figuring out some weaknesses in their roster and how they need to encourage performances from people. Again, very encouraged to see what I saw from Kasperi Kapanen last night after being out for basically 3 months and coming back and having a goal and assist and nearly a third one. Or third point. I honestly didn't expect much less from him. He's been clearly ready to go for a while. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to this team, and if he can keep that momentum going for 5 to 10 games rather than just a couple, because he can be a little bit inconsistent. Overall, I expect this team is going to really put the pedal to the metal here and start to put some distance between them and other teams in the West. The East is an absolute bear this year to play against, and we're going to see. I think there's going to be some good competition in January. And I think it's a good schedule for the Oilers to really get out of the gate strong here for 2026.
Kevin, thanks for this. Have a great week.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone.
There you go. Kevin McCurdy talking about the game last night, the Winnipeg game to come, and the Edmonton Oilers currently, plus that new line that has both of us flummoxed because it just stood out. We've seen third lines before. This one was different. And we're going to see it again, which is good news. All right, declinations on the way at 1:40. Your comments and reaction to what Kevin said next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
A new mattress for 6 months. If you don't love it, we'll find one you do. Some conditions apply. Stop waking up tired. Get the right mattress, guaranteed. Only at the Brick.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. That sounded dangerously like a boy band.
You'd be kind of right.
Was Justin Timberlake in that band?
No, two dudes who no one actually knows their name. They're just the Chainsmokers.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're like a electronic kind of band, but they do sing in that one, obviously.
Well, so is Devo, and I really like them. You and I, electronically and dance musically, I think we overlap in our musical taste with Blue Monday.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That we're both.
That's awesome.
We're both there with Blue Monday.
That's such a good song.
Oh, my God.
Can't believe I didn't play it.
Well, there's still time.
It's Monday, too, and everything.
We were looking for a song at the top of the hour, but you chose a good one, so. I'd like to hear more on how good Lazar has been in Edmonton. Probably his best hockey in the NHL for Peck Stoller fan. He's been good. I think it's easier for him now with Noah Philp gone. And that sounds like a negative towards Noah Philp, but it isn't. But because they had similar skill sets. And so, Lazar was kind of in reserve, and then Philp got hurt, and then Lazar showed pretty well, I thought. And then they waive Philp, and he's played a couple of games now in Carolina. But Lazar is, I feel like he's earning more playing time. I don't want to go farther than that because, this is a guy who has had injuries and difficulties at times during his career. But, he's played 176 minutes, depth minutes this year, and he's been on the ice for 5 goals, 4 and 7 against. That's not a massive, it's only 42%, but it's not a massively negative number. His expected goal share, and I know some people don't like expected goal share, is 57%, which shows that the puck is headed in a good direction, and it's a significant number of minutes, 176. So what I would tell you, not everybody would, but I would tell you that Lazar has certainly done enough to earn a longer track as the fourth line center. Doesn't mean he'll get it. They got Josh Szymanski in the minors. Maybe they call him up. But based on the numbers that I'm looking at, I would say Lazar has shown very well, considering he doesn't play with the big boys often. So that's my take on Curtis Lazar. And they need somebody. And one of the downbeat things about Lazar is that he hasn't been able to stay healthy, right? If he could stay healthy, I just think it's a different world for him. I watch Boston a lot, and he did play there, right? Like when, he was drafted by Ottawa, he didn't turn out to be the player they thought he was. Then he played pretty well as a kind of a fourth line guy in Calgary, went to Buffalo, maybe played a little more in terms of time on ice. And then when he got to Boston, he was only there for 1 year, but he played pretty well. And then he got, there were injury issues. He had a good year in New Jersey, and then he got hurt. And then he's come here now, and he's got 3 goals in 21 games. But I think we'll see him here quite a lot with Henrique out, and I'm glad to do it. I mean, sometimes you've got a player on your roster you'd like to see more of, and I'm sure that Chris Knobloch has that. And one of them might be Curtis Lazar, and we'll see how it goes. I liked every line last night. It was fun to watch, and it's been a frustrating year watching the Oilers because they don't seem to get any traction. But if all this discombobulation is helpful on the way to finding the right mix, like Josh here, he does a lot of mixtapes for his girlfriends. That's what you're looking for. You're looking the right songs, right? Kind of in it, and it's fast, but it's slow. Is that how you do it?
I don't have any girlfriends. Had one. Shout out to high school.
Okay. I thought you were going to talk about the mixtapes. I forgot that I mentioned girlfriends.
Yeah, no. So no one to make mixtapes for.
Have you ever made a mixtape in your life?
No. We don't have the technology for that anymore.
I guess you're right, eh?
I'd just be like making them.
But, okay, let me rephrase.
Making
may I
a playlist
rephrase
for them.
I'm not going to treat you like a hostile witness, but may I rephrase the question?
Sure, go ahead.
Do you ever send your Spotify playlist to anybody to share with them?
No. My music taste is awful. As people who listen to this during my internship while producing the Lowdown with Lowetide would know.
Okay, on the way home, give me 3 songs you might listen to.
Rattlesnake by Jack Van Cleef featuring Zach Bryan. Feel It by David, and Maine by Noah Kahn.
Oh, they're good. I don't know any of those.
Yeah.
What style of music is it?
We've played both Zach Bryan. I've played Feel It on this station before.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know. It's not exactly rap, but it's like.
Let me ask you something.
It's close enough.
How long did I let it play before jumping in?
You let it go for quite a bit.
Then I liked it.
But then I told you had to jump in because we were getting to the explicit part.
Okay. Oh, yeah. You guys and your lyrics.
Well, it's not like they were dropping 9 F-bombs in a row or something. It was just that, like, hey, he's about to drop the F-bomb. You got to get out of this.
Young people today, the music is just off the grid with inappropriateness. And it's good music. Like, I love Lana Del Rey. I love her music.
Appropriate, though.
That's inappropriate.
But, like, I can't listen to Lana Del Rey unless I'm alone in the car.
Yep, for sure.
Same with one of my friends, but that's because she cries when she listens to Lana Del Rey.
Your what tastes like Pepsi Cola?
My cheese.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
But I like the songs like Blue Jean. That's a great record, man.
No, I think you know this, Lowetide. Like, my girlfriend, she's a really big Lana Del Rey fan. She flew out to Ireland by herself to go to a Lana Del Rey concert.
Must be nice to work in a law office and be able to fly to Ireland to see a Lana Del Rey concert.
Business class, too.
Are you a boy toy over there?
I'm not good looking enough for that. I have no qualities. I think about that sometimes.
That's not true.
My. Now the truth comes out.
I really bring nothing to the table.
Out.
You are a total catch. You just are.
Thank
you. One of your main positives is you're a really confident guy. And that's a good thing.
But it's like, you could make an argument it's to a fault.
Nah, you got a wicked sense of humor behind it. You're fine.
Pride is a deadly sin.
One of the 7 deadly. I do think my quick wit will keep me in the game for a while.
I think so. Yeah. You just got to make sure that you control it.
Yes.
All right. Back to sports. Still nothing on this deal. It looks like it's Owen Casey heading from Chicago to Florida for Edwin Cabrera, who's, I think, a good 3-4 pitcher for the Cubs, something like that. It's not a game breaker, but Justin Steele is hurt. Declan's coughing. There's a lot going on. I think it's a pretty good deal for Chicago. And Owen Casey, I don't know. I mean, prospects, who knows? It could be good. Profanity correlates with honesty. It's not a bad thing from Welter. I don't know. My dad never swore in his life, and he had no problem being honest with me. I knew exactly where I stood. Is there any info what has happened to Henrique? Injured, out for an extended period is what we have. Owen Casey is a Canadian, I believe. Yes, he is. Northside Adam moved last year, found my old mixtapes. I got to listen to some, and it just brought me right back to the emotion of what I was going through when I made the mixtapes. Somewhere for me and somewhere for girls. Some were for girls. What a great time mixtapes. Right on. Love the show, boys. I made the mixtapes.
I had a girl make me one time.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I mean, it's a kind, sharing music is like, it's very personal, right? who you share it with and the music you share. Would we ever be able to get Corey Perry back if we wanted or needed him? Well, everybody's available. Perry, I mean, I don't know what the hell's happening in L.A. Kent Holland signed a bunch of free agents and it didn't work, but they have talent there. It's a little bit weird right now. Whenever I read anything on the Los Angeles Kings, the fans are looking at doing drastic things. Man, I would not move any of those young players. Don't do it. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
It's right there in the title. It's a Christmas movie. How are we here right now? This is a text for like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I just didn't.
No, I'm not saying it is a text from 2 weeks ago. I'm saying how did we get here? That is a text that should have come in 2 weeks ago.
It may have. I don't look at the dates. I just read what's there. Any chance we get Kevin into astronomy? Every time I hear the cadence, it reminds me of his dad, Bruce. I look forward to his segment all week back in the day. Rest in peace. Jay, I will tell you that one of the things I love about radio is that we get so much personality from these cats and the other people that we have on the air. And I am so grateful to Kevin for coming on every week. And what my job is, I think, is to let Kevin be Kevin, whatever that may be. And so I don't even know if Kevin's into astronomy, but there are things that he shared with his dad and he shares with us, and it's a delight. And I think that we are all, I know I really look forward to talking to Kevin every week. But I want him to be Kevin. And so I wouldn't ever force anything like that on him. I wouldn't, that's not, his takes are his takes. Now he is very smart, and he presents things in his own way, but I think we'll just let him continue to do that. Speaking of, Declan Krueger was the first person I ever talked to about doing some of the work on this show for free. And now he does a daily. So even though I do 2 hours and I get paid for 2 hours, I don't really work 2 hours, which is all about me with me in mind. And so he's going to be talking Duncan with Declan next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. My name is Tyler Smith, and you are never alone. NotAloneCo.com. It's okay to not be okay.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing. Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic oath to do no harm and act in the best interest of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
It's the place to buy a Honda. It's the place for service too. I love it. I love my Honda place. Would you buy? Would you buy? Would you buy?
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Creek is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreekresort.com.
River Creek Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out. WolfGMCBuick.com. 139. And now it's time for Declinations, featuring the dulcet tones of Declan Krueger talking about basketball. Presented by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Article, podcast, and more breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth double-E football coverage online, elksnation.ca. How are you doing over there, Ricola?
I've definitely felt better.
Yeah.
Tickle in the throat, bit of a cough, stuffed nose.
Would you do me a favor, though?
Yeah.
If you wake up tomorrow and you don't feel well, just take the day.
No, I'd rather come in. It's fun here.
I know. I have a blast, too. It's because of Josh. He's so entertaining.
Yeah.
I do the best I can.
Absolutely.
Now, if I may interrupt your time for just a second. YouTube comment from Anna McCurdy. Bruce McCurdy made me a few mixtapes over the years. He had an amazingly electric taste in music. My favorite mixtape he made was a wedding gift for a friend.
Oh, nice.
I just thought we'd give a shout out there.
There you go.
Shout out to Anna McCurdy.
Who is the best. All right. Well done. If I brought in my mixtape, would you guys play it?
Yep. Yeah, I would.
Okay. All right. Anyway, let's do basketball.
I'd do anything to keep the boss happy.
What's happening in basketball?
Yeah. So I guess the biggest thing in basketball right now that I kind of wanted to touch on is the Trae Young saga, if you will. And I use saga kind of loosely because Trae Young, he sells tickets in Atlanta that can put his face on billboards. He can get 30 a night. He's something to cheer for if you're a fan there, but he doesn't really contribute to winning basketball. He doesn't do anything offensively. He's a good offensive player, but even still, I think he's kind of offensively limited. I think he's in a perfect situation where he has free reign, where he's just allowed to shoot 10 threes a night and go get 30 points. And he is going to get his 10 assists, and he is a good distributor of the basketball, but he's undersized. He's actually on our TV right now. How about that?
There you go.
You're seeing some highlights of him. He's got some handles. He can get to the rim, but he's undersized. He doesn't play defense. Even though his assist numbers are good, he doesn't really elevate players the way he plays within an offense. And he's kind of come out here and said, that his preferred trade destination is the Washington Wizards. And that would kind of be like Trevor Zegras when he was on Anaheim saying my preferred destination is Columbus. It's okay, man, I guess, sure, if that's where you want to go. And here's the thing about Trae Young, I don't think, because this is what generally happens when a player who's putting up 30 and 10 goes on the market. You have a bunch of competing teams say, hey, we'll go out and get that guy as kind of the third piece or the second piece, and they'll elevate our team and they'll put us over the hump. But no team in a contending position wants to do that because, one, they don't want to pay Trae's salary. He's got a $46 million player option coming up this summer. And two, like I said, he does not contribute to winning basketball. He is going to come in and be a liability defensively anytime he's on the court. Like I said, he's had free reign in Atlanta. Is he going to be able to come in and play off the ball if he, let's just say it was the Lakers? What does he look like playing off the ball with Luka handling the ball 60% of the time and LeBron handling it the other 40%. Like, can he catch and shoot? Like, oh, maybe, I guess. Like, is that really his game? No. Is it something he's suddenly gonna turn into a catch and shoot guy at this point in his career? Like, I'm not sure that it is. He's got a lot of talent, but he's a guy. This is really what it is, I guess. It's like, why would you want him? Why would you want him? Like, yeah, you're gonna be able to. He's gonna sell you tickets. He's gonna put his face. You're gonna put his face on billboards. But what's the point? I'll give this analogy as well before I let Josh kind of talk about Trae Young as well. Trae Young is kind of like, like if you're a dad going through like a midlife crisis, but you got a couple kids, and so you want to get a car, but you don't go out and get a Porsche. You don't go out and get a Corvette. Maybe you get like a 2-seater Mazda 6, and it looks nice and zippy, and it's kind of fun for a little while. But pretty soon you realize you don't actually have the Porsche, and you don't actually have the Corvette. And you got to take 2 kids to soccer practice, but you're in this 2-seater Mazda 6. Like, that's kind of what Trae Young is. You're going to take them in a Corvette
to soccer practice?
No, you can't take them to soccer practice in a Corvette either. But you'd rather not be taking your kids to soccer practice in a Corvette than a Mazda 6, than a 2-door Mazda 6. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like his game. I'm interested to see where it goes, but he doesn't. He does not move the needle for any competing team for me.
I couldn't say it any better myself. Trae Young, like
especially the car reference.
Especially the car reference. That was goated. Good job, man. That was great. That was a Lowetideism right there. That's what that was.
You know who I was trying to pull it from? Cowherd. I don't even like Cowherd.
Fair enough. Yeah, no. You and I were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, Deck, was like, hey, yeah, Trae Young just isn't a winning basketball player. He's one of those guys that is, you just know the difference. When James Harden was on the 2018 Rockets and he had the usage percentage that Trae Young did, you knew that he was like contributing to winning basketball. And then like if his usage numbers dipped, he could still contribute to winning basketball.
Yep.
Trae Young is a guy that like, it's not, I'm not trying to give a scathing review of Trae Young, but like his usage numbers does not contribute to winning basketball. And it's just sort of, they're just sort of empty.
Empty calories.
They're empty calories. Like, that's exactly what they are.
Him and LaMelo are the 2 most empty numbers guys in the NBA.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know the difference when you see it is like what Trae Young is as a high volume shooter. And yeah, total liability on defense. Like this isn't, and
like Jalen Johnson is probably their best player too. And he's kind of being stunted a little bit by Trae's usage rate.
What is his salary and why, like, who's going to take him?
He's got $92 million left on his deal. He's making 46 this year and he's making 49 next year or some. So not 92 million left, whatever the math on that is.
Yeah, that's good math.
$97 million.
Right.
No, 95.
So like what you've explained to me is that he's overpriced, under talented, doesn't do the things that help your team win. So why would anybody want him? And so he's being talked about as a trade piece.
I don't know if I'd call him under talented because
he's got lots of talent.
His offensive talent is great.
But you just said that
but his numbers are empty.
The things that he does don't help teams win.
They don't.
Right.
He needs to learn how to be a guy like a Fred VanVleet, who's about the same height, but Fred VanVleet put on a bunch of weight, not in a bad way, and became this like really gritty defender as well.
So who out there, teams wise, like San Antonio's not trading for him?
No. The Wizards are a perfect trade.
That's the thing. Like he has one destination kind of, and it's the 10-25 Washington Wizards.
And that's his preferred destination, which is insane. Like that is a guy who does not love basketball move.
Yeah.
Well, you're reading a lot into this. It's making him $95 million. I think he loves
He's
basketball.
making $95 million because he had a season where he averaged like 33 and 11.
But he loves basketball.
Made the All-NBA third team, which triggered the like the contract he's on, 5 years, $215 million. I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure he gets another max after this, which is pretty rare. because Max, like you can only sign for a 5-year contract in the NBA. Most of those times it's 4 years with a player with a player option where you opt out and re-sign. So you can re-sign Max's back-to-back pretty quickly. I'm not sure he's going to have that ability. And it's just because he doesn't play winning basketball.
Okay, let me rephrase, because the way you're describing it is like Sam Gagner, who couldn't play center even though they needed him to, and he had to reinvent himself. Can this young man reinvent himself?
No.
Okay.
He is what he is.
All right.
And he's not, like, I don't want to rain down blows like he's a bad basketball player. Like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievably tough to, make the NBA, stay in the NBA. It's infinitely harder than all of that to average 30 and 10. Like, you have to have talent to do it, and he does have talent. But he also has free reign with a team that doesn't really do much. They have won conference finals many years ago. They kind of fluked into. He's just not a guy who moves the needle in terms of winning. And a big part of that is he is, like, I don't know what the advanced numbers are. He's got to be one of the worst defenders in the NBA on ball and off ball too, actually, because he doesn't move off ball.
So what I'm hearing is that no contender would trade for him. He is basically a loud noise for the fans in Washington when the Wizards trade for him.
Yeah. And it's like him in Washington, it's just going to be a lesser version of him in Atlanta. It's like, okay, so you're going to go and you're going to average your, 28-9 or 28-11, whatever it is. And the team is going to have an even worse record. Instead of being like 40-42 every year, you're going to be 30-52. But if he's content with that, power to him, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he's realistic about his career. Maybe he understands.
Well, maybe he believes that he can turn it around for them. I mean, he's a young guy. He must be confident in himself.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to be. But I think at this point, he probably has to realize his limitations.
How old is he?
He can't be older than 26.
Okay, he doesn't realize his limitations. I'm telling you right now. As a person who was 26 and male.
He's 27.
Yeah, not there yet.
But the thing is, in the NBA, like, you get, if you're, a top pick, which he was a top 5 pick, traded for Luka on draft night, actually. You get thrust in, you get handed the keys to a franchise immediately. And so you pretty quickly, within the first couple of years, have to realize what you can and can't do. And there's obviously a lot of pressure on you in those situations. And I think to this point, like 27 in the NBA, you grow up pretty fast when you come into the NBA at 18, 19 and become the guy on one of only 30 teams.
But there are outliers. Remember the gun guy? Who was the guy who
Gilbert Arenas?
Yeah, he kept showing up with guns and stuff, and he was kind of immature.
Yeah, he just never really got it.
Right. There are guys like that. They're outliers. They're great athletes and great ball players, but they're not, I mean, I could give you a list of things that are so weird in sports history. Jeff Kent lied once, and it was just the weirdest, stupidest lie ever. It happens,
Yeah, like Aubrey Huff said we should kidnap Iranian women and have them feed us grapes, right? A lot of weird guys out there.
We're normal. We are totally normal. We should read all the stupid things guys do, and then we'll look really good. Right? And we won't include the stuff Josh did because, he's one of us. So, by the way, Corey Perry has been designated non-roster playing status by the LA Kings. That's why Perry came up in the comments earlier. I don't know what that means.
So non-roster status is a guy who's not playing for something other than injury, illness, or disability.
Right. So it's got to be he's taking a leave?
Yeah. Like the example I think that's actually in the rule book is like the birth of your child or funeral or something like that.
Right. So it could be something short term.
Yep.
People are talking about trading for him, but let's let the news break in its fullness and entirety before we go crazy on that. Sorry I interrupted you. Go back and continue.
No, Joe, you finish off.
I think the Hawks have to look back at the past and go, man, we should not have made that trade with the Mavericks.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it was Luka Doncic, like, of course.
That's a sunk cost, right?
Of course. But now, like, this is ending worse than you would want it to. You're trading this guy to the Washington Wizards.
Which, by the way, like, what are you getting back? Are you getting, like, Koulibaly?
Dude, you're not getting like someone like Trey Johnson back.
No, you're not.
You're getting a bad contract back. You're getting back either Chris Middleton or CJ McCollum.
Dude, you know what you're really trying to do? You're trying to somehow flip Richeche for Sarr in that deal, even though neither are very good.
Yeah, you're right.
Like let's try and pretend we got that draft pick right type deal.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Bad
then
spot.
you also have to take on either a Chris
you gotta
Middleton
take
or a
money.
CJ McCollum.
Oh my goodness, could you imagine Chris Middleton in Atlanta?
That actually isn't bad, but like, let's be real here. Chris Middleton is 35 or something now. Like, his best years are behind him.
So he's got this year and next year on his contract.
So yeah, he's eligible. He can opt out of his contract next year.
And can they opt out of it?
No.
Okay, so there's this year and next year left for them, unless he opts out.
Yep.
Okay. So the worst case scenario for the Hawks is that they play him for the next year and a half. Because I'd rather do that than take on a terrible contract.
Sorry, no. He won't be in Atlanta. He'll get moved.
Right. But I'm not taking on a potentially worse contract. Why would I do that?
He's a weird player to kind of try and describe. Like, I feel like we've made him out like he's very bad. He isn't. But he just doesn't win and he doesn't play defense. But he's not bad. And I know that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
but
based on what you said, I don't want him.
It's valid. Yeah, valid.
Okay. All right.
Team that gave him $215 million doesn't want him either. So,
Man, I got to get a gig like that. I got lots of people who don't want me around. I could totally do that part. All right. Jason Krueger on the way to talk about last night's brilliant game and Winnipeg as well. Declan will be by. There'll be lots of fun, antics, coughing. It's going to be a great time. Thanks for tuning into the Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
NHL action tonight as we get the Sports 1440 update brought to you by meals.loca.ca. Every fresh chef-crafted gourmet meal, handcrafted from scratch with fresh ingredients, and it arrives at your door fully cooked and ready to heat, eat, and repeat. Meals.loca.ca. Dallas and Washington getting the day's action going at 5 o'clock. Calgary and Montreal at 5:30. San Jose and LA at 8:30. In the NBA, the Raptors with the first game of the day is they're on the road in Charlotte to take on LaMelo Ball and the Hornets. Line for that one currently Raptors -1.5. The nationally televised games, we'll see the Denver Nuggets in Boston to take on the Celtics at 5. The line for that one, Boston 9.5. And the LA Lakers in San Antonio to take on the Spurs. The line for that one, San Antonio -7.5. WHL action. Edmonton in Swift Current to take on the Broncos. An 8 p.m. puck drop for that one at the Innovation Plex in Swift Current. Hayden Fleury has been released from hospital after suffering a broken nose and a bruised back, and the LA Kings have designated Corey Perry to non-roster playing status. On behalf of Josh Fenwick and Lowetide, I'm Declan Krueger. Up next is the Jason Krueger Show with Connor Halley. This has been a Sports